Hi, it's Pavel from BASSMUSIQUE.com with a review of a brand new, or fairly new, plugin released by the audio software company iZotope. It's called BreakTweaker. Now, I've posted an article on BassMusic about this, which I'll link to in the description. This is a plugin that was originally developed by the electronic artist called BT, or Brian Transu. I'm sure most of you guys will know who he is. I certainly do. I've been a fan of his for a long time, following his stuff. I think he makes superb music, and his whole attitude to music is really cool. So I was really interested when I found out a few years ago that he'd been developing and using a couple of plugins that he'd developed in beta form in his live performances, and then had decided to release them to the public and make proper versions of these. Now, from what I understand, he set up a company called Sonic Architects and planned on releasing this plugin, BreakTweaker, along with his other plugin, which was released probably maybe a couple of years ago, called Stutter Edit. And BreakTweaker has just seen the light of day. Things have happened in the meantime, and he joined forces with iZotope for their plugin experience and brought his technology and his ideas to them, and together they've developed this plugin, which I'm showing you now, called BreakTweaker, which is really cool. I've just bought it a while ago. I demoed it when it came out, and it's a really unique plugin. Actually, the more I use it, the more I kind of fall in love with it, to be honest. It's just really cool. I'll try and give you a brief overview. It's not going to be the most in-depth technical thing. I'll put, if you follow the article to BassMusic, you can check out the links to iZotope and stuff to find out all the technical bits and pieces. I'm just going to kind of give you a quick overview on the features and what I like about it and stuff like that. Now, from what I understand, it's available in most formats, audio unit, VST, for Mac and PC. And what it is fundamentally a drum synthesizer or sequencer, but it's just so much more than anything that I've seen available at the moment. And there is some fantastic drum sequencers, some synths out there, but this sort of does it completely different. So what it is, this interface here contains 6 tracks. If I load up one of the presets, it comes with a whole bunch of presets preloaded. So if we just pop into the dubstep genre and we load something up here, you basically have scenes across the top, the same as you would on you'd see on a sequencer, and each of these pattern buttons down the bottom here, you can switch between the sequencer events. So you can basically fundamentally start with an intro and then progress the track and sort of build a track along 24 perimeters here. So if we just look at pattern 1 and hit the preview button, what we're doing here is just sequencing like you normally would in a drum sequencer. So we've got the hats here, snare here, a kick, so on. And to play the notes, if we just solo the kick, for example, and we play that, so it's kind of what you come to expect from a normal sequencer. But the difference is here, it's really easy to add a new kick. For example, if we do this, and we'll keep the kick soloed, you can just sequence like that. But the fantastic thing here is you can actually take an element, a sample, or a synth as well, and you can actually start doing some break tweaking to it. So if we stretch the kick out here, if we move down to the micro edit section, we can then start doing micro edits on that sample. So if we play this, we can start doing some really cool stuff. If I keep that on loop for a second, we can play with the amount of edits, so we can go right up to ridiculous amounts of of edits, or just not humanly, something that you just really wouldn't be able to do by hand. And then once you've created them edits, you can do them in different types. You can do them in divisions, in pitch, in time and speed, because once the edits get so fine, they then create notes, which is something that I'm sure you can find information about. When you get to a certain frequency, you're then playing notes rather than samples anymore, because of the way the frequency happens. I'm well technical, but yeah. So I'll just play this, and I'll show you what happens when we're operating with divisions and we change the tension, because the tension kind of changes the layout of the clips. So it goes from longer clips to shorter clips, so you kind of get like that, and then the rotate. Not exactly sure what that does really. Like I said, I'm not the most technical person in the world when it comes to this stuff. I know how to use it, and I know the basics. But I'll just play this over, and I'll play around with a few of these, and you can see what happens and what the possibilities are. I mean, the way you can transform samples with that just being a kick, you can almost change things into... I was playing about with a sample, just a sort of short, stabby synth sound, and you can actually just completely change the sound into something else. And then you can... The beautiful thing is you can then start to take them and then sequence them as well. It really is crazy. On each of these sections, the 6 sections here, you can also change the speed, so it goes faster over the time in the sequencer. So that gives you a whole other way to start programming your beats and stuff like that. And once you start messing around with this section with the gates as well, so you have a shorter gate or a longer gate on each of the micro edits, it just gets crazy, and you've got more effects and fade-ins and stuff that you can do here, which really go into mind-blowing territory. But the thing that amazed me about this is it's such a complex plugin. I mean, the under the hood is so crazy and complex. I thought it was going to be one of them plugins that wouldn't be very usable because of it was so complex. But from using it, I've just found it's really good. It's really good as a basic drum sequencer. But at the same time, rather than just having your sections and your elements that you're playing in the sequencer, you can then start to adapt and change things, and it really gets crazy. If I'll just load something else up and just give you an example of a couple of presets that come with it. Now, if you look here, we've got a synth. If you click into the actual section, if you go and click here by the side of the sequencer, you can see that the generation type, you can either use a sample. So if you select sample and you click, you can load the samples that are included with the packs. And I believe there's quite a few expansions out, and probably going to be a lot more. I've heard of some guy, which names escape me, one of the really cool sound designers, is doing a pack for this as well. And you can also just load your own samples, so you can just go and grab any sample you want, chuck it in there, and then start sequencing that. Or you can do a synth, so you can actually generate. This is actually a synth maker as well, so you can go in from all these categories. You can select formant waves, basic waves, complex waves, stick them in there, and then suddenly you're playing with this wave. So if we go back to here, this is now making this sound. So if I just pull that up, we've then got this, and I'll solo it. So once you start getting into the synth territory as well, it just gets really, really crazy. A few basic controls that are on the top of the intensity, so it's basically sort of a compression in a way, or the harshness of the sound, and then a simple gain. You can also use this as a multi, so you can route in this instance, you could put the kick through to channel 1, you can put the snare through to channel 2, and then on your sequencer you can bring each individual element up on different auxiliaries and then start affecting them as well and controlling them independently, although you can control the gain. You've got some simple controls here and pans that you can control on each section as well. And then the great thing is you can flip through, so you can make different patterns, and you can use all your samples and basically kind of build a track up on the fly inside the plugin. So it's really cool. It comes with some really good content as well. Actually, I think there's about 700-800 megs worth of content, and like I said, more expansion packs are available. So it's definitely one worth checking out. This is one of my favorite plugins. I'm sure I've got a lot more to learn from this at the moment, but yeah, it's a real cool plugin. So you can go and grab a demo from the iZotope site. If you read the article on Bass Music, you can go and check them out, and I'll also leave a link if you want to go and buy the plugin as well. It's definitely one for you to try out and have a look at. I really recommend this. It's a real nice plugin, so go and check it out, and I hope you like it. If you've got any questions with it, feel free to leave them on Bass Music forum or in the comments on the videos or the article, and I'll try and help if I can. And yeah, so go and check it out, and I'll see you in the next video.